Hello, welcome. I'm Hannah and I'm so excited today because I'm back with a new ridiculous shirt and a Looxi collection, which I'm going to eye swatch for you. This is the Eye Candies collection. It launched on February 13th, which is a Monday. Usually they launch on a Friday. And I've said before how they sometimes have like weird ways of announcing their collection. Sometimes it's an Instagram post, sometimes it's an email, sometimes it's both. This time it was an email a half hour after the collection launched. I don't know if it's just like their mail chain goes out at different increments or something, but like I bought it right away. I got it the other day and I'm so excited. They look really sparkly and a lot of them are those kind of like interesting neutral shades that I love and I particularly love from Looxi. So yeah, let's get into it. I'm probably gonna end up changing like halfway through because man, I am so hot already. I'm going to try to match up shadows that look kind of similar. Not all of them have a shadow that looks similar, so I'll put those together, but we're going to start with two blue ones that don't look the most exciting, but I'm prepared to be surprised. As usual, I don't have any eye primer or anything on, and we're going to start with the shade Now and Maybe Later. This is described as a pearl lavender with an electric blue shift. Ooh, really soft in the pan. I like that. I feel like sometimes with these shadows that look a little bit flatter in the pan, they pick up a little bit harder, but this picked up really soft. Oh, that's pretty. Wow, yeah, I thought looking at it in the pan, it might be something that's kind of like exclusively an inner corner shade for me, and I still think it would make a nice inner corner, but it's definitely like pretty and full enough to go all over my lid. It kind of reminds me of Gumdrop from their winter collection, but it's a little bit less icy, and this one definitely has a shift in it. Yeah, it's funny it's described as a lavender with a blue shift, because I feel like it looks like a bluish lavender with a pink shift, or like a bronze shift. Wow, one in, I'm already pleasantly surprised. I like this one. The next one is Blue Razz, which kind of looks like the same deal. And I stabbed this one with packaging when I was opening it. It's described as an icy electric blue with shifts of purple and pink. This one also feels soft. Wow. Yeah, I really like when like, you swatch it and you can see the texture coming up in the pan. That's like my favorite type of formula or pressing from Looxi. And these ones have both done that. Cute. Wow, I was really expecting these first two to both be really uninteresting, unimpressive, but that's really pretty. Like, it is a simple blue. I feel like we have seen shades like this before from Looxi, but it's a really nice one. And again, I'll test it in my inner corner at a later date, but this is the type of inner corner shade that I like, where it's not like specifically relegated to the inner corner. Cute. I don't know which one I like better. The next shadow is Cookies and Cream. This shadow, I saw Sarah on Instagram, Sarah Liz Glam. She received the shadow she ordered from this collection a couple days ago and did swatches on her stories and some eye swatches. And I know she's been enjoying this one as an inner corner, so I'm really excited about that. If you enjoy really like indulgent, beautiful indie single shadow swatches, I definitely recommend checking out her page, and like shadows look so good on her eyelids, but this is one that I've really been anticipating because of that. It's described as a glassy iridescent with shifts of multiple colors. On the swatch on the website, it looks like really like wet shine. To my eye, I don't know if it comes up in camera, but I feel like I could see a lot of pink shimmer, but I don't think that really comes up on camera. Same feeling. Wow, I'm so excited. These so far are all shades that like in the pan look a little bit more like dud shades to me. Like we haven't even gotten into the ones yet that look really exciting. Cute. Yeah, it really does have like a wet shine to it. I don't see the multiple color shifts, but I definitely see like some purple, some pink and blue in there. That's really pretty. Okay, I could definitely imagine this being a gorgeous inner corner, kind of in the same way that the first two were. That like they're pretty shimmery shadows, but they're light enough to go in the inner corner. I'm really excited. The next one's the shade Gummi, and if this one isn't more hard pressed, I'm going to be shocked because it looks very hard pressed in the pan. It's described as an intense orange with shifts of gold and red. Kind of matches my nails. Okay, this one is soft. Like, you can see the texture when I pick it up, but it's not like a hard pan. Like, it's not what I thought it would be. Okay. Yeah, it goes on a little bit less flaky, a little bit more smooth. It is pretty, but I'm definitely the least excited about this one so far. I feel like Looxi has released better, more exciting, similar oranges. Catty-pillar is like an all-time favorite, and this really reminds me of it. This might have more red to it than Catty-pillar does, but similar effect. I can do a comparison swatch a little later. I would skip over this one. Okay, we've crossed off these 4, which have been, for the most part, a massive success. And I just want to show you in the pan the next 8. I'm so excited about these. So I can't wait any longer. We're going to dive into the 2 that I'm most excited about, which both look pretty similar in the pan. This is Jawbreaker, and then after that we'll do Jelly Bean. I think Jawbreaker just looks slightly more green, but they do look really similar, but I'm so excited for both of them. So Jawbreaker is described as a pinky purple with shifts of gold and green. Picks up a little bit more hard, like a little bit more pressed than those first 3 shades, but not as hard as Gummi, which is still not as hard as they can get. That looks so pretty though. That like pinkish green. Ooh, I love that. Oh, wow. Oh, I really like this. I didn't realize how much shimmer I have under my eye. I will take care of that soon, I think. But this shade is so pretty. I do wish it was like a touch flakier. Like, I feel like if it was the same exact formula as the first 3, I would like it even more. But maybe the fact that it was a little bit less soft will mean it will crease less. I've mentioned this before about Looxi shades. I do find a lot of them crease on me, but a lot of shadows in general do crease on me. My eyes are pretty hooded, and while like I prefer a shadow to crease less, it's not absolutely a deal breaker. But because of that, I do bet that those first 3 would crease on me a lot more than this one would. So that is something to keep in mind. And I think the shade of this is gorgeous. I really love it. Someone had asked me kind of a while ago if I knew of a dupe for Wild Child from Looxi, one of their older shades, and I couldn't think of anything off the bat, but I feel like this looks like a lighter, brighter version of it because it does have that like mauvey pink and a greeniness to it. I really like this one. Okay, and then next for Jelly Bean, which I feel like I'm going to like even more than Jawbreaker. It's described as a sparkling pink with shifts of blue and gold. Yeah, this one feels a little bit softer. Yeah, I'm happy I have these on at the same time because they really are similar shades, but I think Jawbreaker goes a little bit more green, where this one goes a little bit more yellow. And I think this one is a shiftier shadow, but they're both really nice. And honestly, I might prefer Jawbreaker because even though I like the formula of this a touch more, it's kind of like a negligible difference, and I like the greeniness in this. I think this shade looks a little bit more special. And this shade looks a little bit more like something I've seen before, you know? But they're both really gorgeous shadows. I think I will get use out of both of them. And like for $3 each, I can have some similar shades for $3 each. Or for more, like who am I kidding? Next up is Lemonhead. It's described as a gold yellow with caramel and turquoise shifts. I'm a little surprised to hear this described as a yellow because it does come up as green in the pan. But green and yellow are pretty closely related. Let's see how it looks on the eye. It looks so pretty in the pan. It feels like the last one, maybe even a little bit flakier or like a little bit more emollient. Like I feel like more picked up on my finger, but it did kind of pick up in like a creamy-ish way. Oh, wow. Okay, I see why this is called a yellow. Cute. This one kind of reminds me of, is it Embellishment from Looxi? That one kind of looks like a yellow bronze, and this is giving me those vibes. I like this. A lot of Looxi shadows have more of like a sheer quality, which I do enjoy, but I also enjoy when they have a little bit more pigment to it, and this one feels like a little bit more full pigment. Like as in like if you had mattes underneath, it could like cover up those mattes, you know? I like this though. This is cute. Yeah, I'm really curious how it will compare to Embellishment, but I really like this off the bat. Next is Saltwater Taffy, which looks so metallic on the picture on their website. It's described as a metallic brown with shifts of green, blue, and gold. I just want to show you also how this in the pan looks really similar to the last one, to Lemonhead here. But it's interesting how this one was described as a yellow, and I see it on the eye, and this one's called a brown. This looks like nearly holographic in the pan. Ooh, this one's really soft, really emollient to the touch, and I definitely see this one coming up as like a full pigment metallic shade. Oh, wow. Isn't that crazy? Wow, how they could look so similar in the pan, but come up like this? That's really pretty. I feel like Looxi used to put out a bunch of shades like this. Like Drip comes to mind as something a little bit more recent, but I think that was February of last year. But I feel like this is gonna be my favorite one of those. I really like this. Or even, I think Jeepers Creepers, which I just got in my random palette selection. I think that's this kind of shade also, like a green sparkle on top of a brown base. But I really like this one. Ooh, that's just so pretty. And you could see how, like, you know, it looks so brown in the base when it's not in the light. And then that greeniness is just so intertwined in it. I love that. I really like these. Next we have the shade Chocolate Cherry. I love the name of this. I love, like, the imagery that it provokes. But the look of this looks like something that I might not love. It's described as a bronzy brown with green, gold, and reddish pink shifts. If it looks like what it describes, I'll like it, but it looks so like steely gray, sage green almost in the pan, and that's not really my vibe. But if it has that warmth to it, I'm gonna get on with it. Ooh, okay. It's soft like the last one, but not quite as emollient. This one feels like it's going to be really metallic too. Huh. Okay, I think it's kind of looking like what I thought it would be, and it's not my ideal type of shade. Maybe if I paired this in a look with, like, a lot of warm browns and I had this on the lid, actually, I think I would really like that. But this I probably wouldn't necessarily do with, like, just a simple crease and this on the lid, because it just doesn't feel very me. But formula-wise, I think it's really pretty. It definitely is a metallic, but it doesn't feel as full pigment as the last one. Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell if it just, like, is closer to my skin tone and just happens to match, or if it's that, like, sheerness at play. But it did feel like a metallic going on. Yeah, I think this one's kind of metallic. So yeah, not my favorite shade, but I do like the formula of this, and I think in a warm look, chef's kiss. I tend to be pretty picky about greens, especially, like, bright greens, but for some reason this one just looks so good to me. It's called Sour Watermelon, and it's described as a yummy green with blue and pink shifts. It kind of reminds me of Kevin from Oden's Eye. Oh, this one feels a little bit harder. Not quite as much as Gummi, but definitely more so than the others. Huh. Yeah, I think this one actually looks quite a bit like Kevin. Maybe, if anything, a tad brighter. We'll have to compare that. I do like this. I think it's a less exciting shade. You know, I don't really see those shifts to it, at least in this lighting, but I do think it's cute. It's more basic. If it was a color that didn't intrigue me, it would probably be at the bottom of my list. Maybe it still would be, I don't know. I haven't been thinking about the rankings yet, but because I'm intrigued by the color, I'm down with it, you know? Okay, we're on to the final two. I often will put on eye primer for the last one or two so that I could leave them on and make a look around them, but I don't think I'm going to want to have mismatched eyes with these two. So I'm going to commit myself to making an unrelated look from these last two. Yeah, I don't know. The penultimate shade is Licorice Lace. This looks really pretty. It's described as a raspberry shade with shifts of purple and turquoise. Okay. This one does feel like it doesn't pick up as well. It has texture in the pan, more so than Gummi. That's kind of the baseline, because I feel like that's been the one of all these that had the least texture, but definitely not the most texture. But that shade looks really pretty. I love a blue reflect in, like, a pinkish shade. So pretty. Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't like the formula of this one as much, but I love that color. Ooh, that's so pretty. And I don't think I have a shadow like this one. Yeah, and you can see how, like, raspberry is a really good word for it, of how it looks in the base. And then the blue is just intertwined. I do think of this shadow, though, as being the type of shade that's, like, interesting enough that you'll have a good time wearing it, but subdued enough that it won't completely take over your makeup, take over your look. I feel like if you don't have the absolute strictest of office, you know, that you could wear this to work, that kind of thing. I really like this. I think there definitely is a place for this in my collection, but I do wish the formula was a little bit more flaky. The final one is called Red Hot, and this one looks like a straight up glitter in the pan. Cute. It's described as a semi-metallic red with shifts of caramel bronze, yellow, and orange. Oh my god, this one is so soft. This one feels like Jell-O. Wow. Oh, that's pretty. This one I do definitely feel the roughness to it. I know my eyelids are probably a little bit sensitive already from removing, what, 5 swatches already? But this one, like, I can definitely feel, like, shards in it, you know? I don't think it actually contains real glitter, but just, like, not very finely milled sparkle pigments. But that looks really pretty. Yeah, I could definitely see the, like, orange bronziness to it. And then that pink that it shifts to. I love that shade. It's so bright. It's like a neon corally pink. That's really pretty. I do feel like, though, based on how extremely soft this one is, it probably will crease really badly. So it might be the type of shade that I'm not going to put on if I'm going to be, like, walking around all day not looking at my makeup. You know, it might require, like, a little touch up, a little, like, pat out, which is often okay for me. And I will take that for a shadow that looks that pretty. Okay, so those were all 12. I'm going to make a look out of these and we'll come back for some thoughts, comparisons, and rankings. Okay, this is what we got. I feel like I'm always like, I don't know about this look. So as usual, I don't know about this look. It got a little greener than I meant for it to on the lid, and then I tried to overcompensate under the lid. I don't know. Let's go through it. For my crease, I used Labyrinth from ColourPop just because that's what I have in my randomly selected palette from this month. The outermost color is Saltwater Taffy, which is the one that was like brown with the green sparkle. And it's funny because I like it from the side, but then from here, I don't know, I feel like there's some angles where you just see like a spot of brown and it looks unblended, but that's just the way like it interacts with the light. So I'm not sure about that. Then next to that, I used the green Sour Watermelon. This one went on really nicely with the brush. I feel like Saltwater Taffy didn't want to go on the brush as much, but this one was like, okay, and hopped right on. And then for the rest of the lid, I used Jawbreaker, which I really liked, and I feel like the greens just like really blended together. Like I wouldn't guess that this inner color on my lid is Jawbreaker. I did end up tapping a little bit of Chocolate Cherry kind of like low on it just because I wanted to add another color in there. For my inner corner, I used Cookies and Cream. I did feel like I had to work it in to my inner corner a little bit because it is a little bit more flaky. And when I picked it up on my inner corner brush, it only wanted to pick up the flakes. So I did have to go in kind of a couple times and kind of like dab out some of the flakes. So I don't know. I think it does look pretty, but in terms of ease of use, I have so many other inner corner shades that I love that do go onto my inner corner very naturally. So I don't know if I'll be favoring this one. For my lower lash line, first I used a little bit of Looxi Bourbon, which is just a dark reddish brown matte because I wanted to make sure that there was some depth in the lower lash line. I went over the outer part of it with Gummi, which picks up on a brush really well. And then on the inner more part of it, I went in with Licorice Lace. That was a lot of shades. That's 7 shades, so I used more than half of the shades in my eye look today. I changed into this t-shirt when I was putting on my makeup, and then I went to go back into my weird fuzzy thing, and I realized there's absolutely no way I can do an arm of swatches wearing that thing. So it's t-shirt Hannah for the rest of today. I do think ranking these is going to be kind of hard. because a lot of them are just very different. But as usual, I'm just going to kind of go off my gut feelings. Definitely these are subject to change, but it's just how I feel about them personally right after trying them for the first time. So I'm going to say my least favorite is the shade Gummi. You knew it was coming. It was kind of my baseline least favorite formula in this collection. Definitely not bad though. Definitely had way worse. I feel like there's been some Looxi collections where I just like straight up hate some of the, you know, lowest rank shadows. I don't hate this. I feel like if I had a small collection, it might be the kind of thing that I would use a lot for my lower lash line. But I feel like because I have so many shades I like that work well on my lid and my lower lash line, I'm not really in the business of keeping things just for my lower lash line. But that is definitely a perk I see of this type of like harder pressed formula. You're not going to get flakes all over your face if you try to pick it up on a brush and get it onto your lower lash line. My second to last, you know, again, based on my first impressions, I'm gonna say Cookies and Cream because of how I felt when I put it on my inner corner today. I kind of feel like if I'm not using this for my inner corner, I don't know if I really would go all over my lid with it. I feel like there's so many other interesting neutrals from Looxi that I prefer. So for that reason, second to last. But I do like it, and I think it just shows the fact that like I like this collection, you know? And I think the next one is going to be another one of those inner corner shades from the beginning, Blue Razz. I did like this one. I think I will wear it all over my lid, but I just don't know how much use it's going to get out of if I'm not using it for my inner corner. Maybe it will pick up differently than the experience I have with Cookies and Cream, or maybe I'll kind of get used to that extra little bit of tapping it out, but I don't know. First impressions, didn't love it. And then the fourth worst is going to be Now and Maybe Later, which was the first one that we swatched, the purpley one with the shift. This one's really redeemed by the shift. I think it's a pretty interesting shade. These other two inner corner ones were a little bit less interesting, but this one did seem more unique. And I think of the three of these, I'd be most likely to use this one all over my lid. Or especially on top of like a darker purple base, it would really kind of amplify the shift in it. That's funny, I just realized the bottom four are exactly the first four that I swatched in reverse order. That's funny. I'm staring at these now and I'm like, I have 8 more to rank and I just don't know. Because it's funny, I'm thinking now, I'm like, even though I like all of these, I don't think any of them are going to be a new favorite. Like, I think there's some really gorgeous shades that I'm going to get use out of, but if you stack these up against like the Fairy Tales collection they had last year that I thought was just so interesting and sparkly and unique, and that other kind of like unnamed sparkly collection that came out sometime last spring, I think those would all win over these. So that's kind of interesting. You know, I'm coming to that thought because I'm like, which one's even my favorite? Okay, I think I'm just going to call number 8 as Saltwater Taffy. This is the one that I have on my outermost part. That's the brown with the green sparkles in it. This one definitely, oh, I really like the way this one feels. So I don't know. I'm regretting it as I'm doing it, but I just don't know. Yeah, this one is really nice. But I know I do have similar ones, but like this might be my favorite of the similar ones. I don't know, we're sticking with it. But I guess this is good to show, to let you know, to keep in mind that these 8 are ranked very haphazardly, and these 8 are pretty similar in my heart. None of them are my absolute favorite Looxi shade, but I do think they're all really nice. Maybe I'll call number 7 Lemonhead? I don't know, I really like this one also, but if it's similar to Embellishment, which we will check out soon, I probably will favor the Clionadh formula over this one, which, I mean, makes sense. Embellishment was probably $12 or $14. This one was $3, and Looxi shadows do have a history of creasing on me more than Clionadh, which, as I said, although it's not the biggest issue, I will still choose a non-creasing shadow over a creasing shadow, since I already have both of them. Number 6, I'm just going to give it a Chocolate Cherry. This one, not my favorite shade, but I do like the formula, and I am really excited about the prospect of using this in a warm matte look. Even like burgundies and pinks with this, I just think it would be so pretty. but maybe like just on the shade alone, it probably should be number 8. I don't know. Number 5, let's give it to Licorice Lace. I think this one's really pretty though. I'm like, which one am I most likely to like want to use tomorrow? It might be this one, but I don't like the formula as much. It does feel like a little bit thinner and harder pressed, but the color feels very unique for my collection. Number 4, I'm gonna say Red Hot. I really like the look of this one, but I'm concerned by how emollient it is, but it's really pretty, and I really like the tone of it. This one I'll probably be excited to use really soon also though. So pretty. Number 3, I keep on wanting to call this one Kevin because it really does remind me of the Oden's Eye one, but Sour Watermelon. Picked up really nicely with a brush. I do like the shade a lot. Not the most interesting formula, but something about the specific shade of green is just speaking to me. Okay, number 2, I'm gonna give it to Jelly Bean. This one was probably my favorite formula-wise. And also I really like the color, but just comparing it to the one that we'll talk about next, I like the color slightly less, but it is really pretty. I'll probably use this one really soon too. Okay, number 1, we're gonna give it to Jawbreaker. I really liked the pinkishness and the greenishness of this. I am a little concerned by just how green it looks. Like it's on like the inner half of my lid, and it just looks like a straight up green there. But the way that it looked when it was by itself, I really liked, and the way I'm most likely to use this is just by itself with the color in the crease, and I think it will really shine when it has the moment all to itself. So these are the swatches, my rankings with a lot of qualifiers. I don't think any of these are trash, but I think it's worth thinking about the type of formula that you like, the type of use you want to get out of them, and, you know, a lot of things to keep in mind. Okay, for those couple of comparisons that I mentioned, I pulled out Catty-pillar, a well-loved shadow in my collection. And let's see it next to Gummi. Yeah, it really is such a similar vibe. And like Catty-pillar, it's not like it's a super thick formula or anything either, but it just has like enough texture to stand out. And looking now at how extremely similar they are, unless you were interested in Gummi because you happen to like that really thin formula, I would really recommend Catty-pillar over it. Okay, and then I grabbed out Embellishment from Clionadh to compare to Lemonhead. Okay, let's see. Ooh, so pretty. Yeah, I think they are a really similar color, and Embellishment just looks like a little bit more interesting. It might have a little bit more brown to it than Lemonhead does. I feel like Lemonhead just makes me more excited to use Embellishment. Okay, and then we have Oden's Eye Kevin. I made a whole video about how, yeah, these shadows are kind of stinky, but I decided I'm still gonna keep a couple because I bought a couple of the like separate plastic casings, and this was like my top one I wanted to keep. So I'm very curious how similar it is to Sour Watermelon. Oh, yeah, not that similar. I think Kevin comes up a lot more lime green, and doing that swatch reminds me of why it just felt so interesting. That like the base is this bright lime green with some darker green sparkles on top of it, and Sour Watermelon just looks more like a straight on what you see is what you get color. I do like them, so I stand by Sour Watermelon being my 3rd ranking, but I won't be decluttering Sour Watermelon or Kevin in favor of the other one anytime soon. But that's going to be everything for today. I hope this was informative if you're looking to purchase from this collection, or at least fun to watch. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. It really means a lot to me, and thank you so much for being here. Bye.